Well, guys, welcome back to episode 2 of Stalking Shadows, a South African outfitter's story. And as you can see, I've got a trail camera here behind me, which I kind of forgot about. I think it's been here for about 6 months. I actually clean forgot it was here. Just to show you, I'm down on the beautiful Cap River. It's going to be interesting to see what's left on that camera. And yeah, what we've caught. We've caught leopard down here before. So fingers crossed we catch leopard on camera again, and a few other interesting species that we haven't seen. So let's get back to the stories, guys. As we all know, those who have watched and everything like that, we started with the introduction of myself and where my hunting career started. Hunting my first springbuck with my father and my brother, hunting on a family ranch, owned ranch. And I thought before I forget about my stories, let's just carry on from that and just go forward, building on every hunting experience I've had, and then we'll lead into when I became a professional guide and so on and so forth as we go on with all these stories. So from that springbuck experience, I learned a great deal from my dad. Nothing's perfect. You don't always make a perfect shot. Hunting is a challenge. And we built on that over the years. To a few years later, we were about 13 years old now, and my dad took us back to the family ranch. Unfortunately, by this stage, my grandfather had passed away. And he took us out to hunt our next springbuck. And I managed to shoot a beautiful springbuck ram. We'll pop some pictures in again for you guys to show you guys what we did. And it was another, I want to say, like, moment. You know, my grandfather wasn't there. My uncle had got the farm. It was kind of getting down to our last time hunting this family ranch, and I got to shoot a beautiful springbuck ram. I'm sure my brother got to shoot a springbuck ram, or between him and my dad they shot another springbuck ram, and we used the same 222. This time I made a much better shot, being a bit older, a bit more confident, shot a lot more dussies in between and been out practicing. So it was a much better hunt. No dramas, but it was a great time out in the bush with my brother and my father, doing what we all enjoy, just getting out there and doing a lot of hunting. So that would have been like to the beginning of the year. For those who haven't hunted in SA and haven't experienced the South African game, we've got loads of species. There's certain times of the year we can hunt certain animals. The other times of the year, like a springbuck, has no season. You can hunt it throughout the year. Same with impala and stuff. So we would have done the springbuck hunt towards the beginning of the year. And then came winter, our June, July, August period is when hunting season kicks in. And guys, I'm still talking a lot about when there were no half-fenced ranches. It was a new thing to have a game farm or a fenced-off property where you could start hunting throughout the year. So we would go on these family hunts. We had, by this stage, my dad had hired a property where we were running sheep, goats, and cattle, and we had the hunting rights on the property. It was a lovely big property. It's actually been absorbed by one of the biggest hunting companies in the Eastern Cape, Frontier Safaris. And we grew up now in our teens hunting this property and having absolute ball on this place, shooting loads of hares, spring hares, dussies, beautiful big cliffs. It was like bushbuck heaven, and it was a really, really tricky kudu hunting farm. And this is where now my brother and I learned how to shoot or hunt kudu. We went with my dad, a couple of times, and our hunting was very different back then. There was a lot more beated or driven hunts. So you'd get set up on high advantage points. You'd pick a valley we'd send some beaters through, and then we would pick the kudu or shoot the kudu that come out. So a very different style of hunting to what I do now with clients and guiding, and even what I do now when I go out hunting on my own, or hunting with my brother, or hunting with my father. Very, very different style of hunting. So we went to this farming season. My dad invites all his friends, so there'll be 10, 12 of us at a time, coming out. We've got a bunch of beaters, and we were beating a valley, and my dad said, well, this is this year you guys are going to shoot kudu. So I'm super amped, my brother's super amped, so I go with my dad, and my brother ends up with one of my uncles. And at this stage, my dad only had 2 calibers big enough to hunt kudu. So he gave the one to my brother, and my uncle was supervising him. And then I was with my dad. And we'd done a beat and nothing came out. And I said to my dad, well, Dad, I've never shot with your 30-06. How do I know if this thing's going to kick? This is time before suppressors came out. So he saw a big termite hill that was like 150 meters away. And he said, well, shoot the termite hill. So I lay there on my belly, and I took a shot and I hit the termite hill, and I was like super impressed with myself. First time shooting with this 30-06, and I smoked the big termite hill. So we move on to the next thing, and a few more kudu get shot, and nothing comes past us, and no opportunities. And then we get to our last beat of the hunt. It's the last in the afternoon, and my dad and I are set up on this cliff, and we got this beautiful big valley that ran below us, and we could hear the beaters coming along. And next minute, a kudu cow comes running out. And we're hunting for meat at the time, guys. So it's no trophies or anything like that. We're shooting, and putting in the freezer. So my dad up and shoots the kudu cow, and it falls over. And with that, a bull comes out, a nice meat bull. So I say to my dad, no, it's my turn. And he's about to shoot. And I take the rifle away from him, and I get set up on my butt with my elbows on my knees, and the kudu comes through a clearing, and I smoke it, and it rolls. And I'm like, whoa, I got my first kudu. And it was kind of a surreal thing. It was like, did I actually shoot the kudu, or did I, what's happening? My dad's super excited. He's patting me on the back, and all the beaters are coming along, and they're excited because there's meat for the pot for everyone. And they've, found the kudu bull lying 10 yards from where I smoked him, my dad's kudu cow. And we finished up a great hunt with friends, getting 5-6 kudu for the day. And everyone got a piece of meat, and that was all divided up amongst everyone. And me, I was young. We couldn't get across the valley to where it was. So unfortunately, I got no photos of me with this kudu. And they managed to bring it out the bush. And all my uncles are excited. I've shot my first kudu. And traditional, being a tradition, I didn't know what happened. Next minute, one of my uncles grabs me, and here comes a guy with a bucket of blood, and I got painted. I got my war paint, super impressed with myself. There are a couple photographs of me snapped. By this stage, the carcasses were portioned up, so there's a photograph of me hugging the 2 hindquarters of my kudu, and it was just a great experience, in itself. And being 13 and shooting my first kudu bull was by no means a trophy, guys. It was just a nice, mature meat bull for the pot, and that was my first experience. So season hasn't come to an end now, and we are still got a few weeks left. And my dad takes us to his home farm again, where my uncle owns it now, and this will be our last opportunity to shoot a kudu each. My grandfather said that my brother and I could shoot a kudu on the property, so we headed on out there, and my uncle honored that. And this time around, I was left with the farm manager, and my brother went with my dad. So this was quite a cool story. We head out into the bush. I'm in an area more or less where I shot my springbuck, and I've got my tracker who's with me now. His father taught us a lot about hunting and stuff like that. And he was with me, and he spotted the kudu and kind of took me off the truck, and we stood to the side and we did a little bit of a stalk, and I shot the kudu bull. But unfortunately, I did a frontal, and I shot him a little bit low in his brisket, and the bull took off. So we were after this tracking, and my brother is with my dad, and where they were walking and stalking, they actually crossed the track, my kudu bull's track, the blood. So while they were following this track, and it crossed over into some neighboring property, and then it worked all its way back in. And when they got back into ours, they were on an advantage point, and they saw a lovely big kudu bull standing grazing. So my dad said, "Oh, well, this is the opportunity for Ryan to get his kudu." So he set him all up, put him out there. Ryan made the absolute pin-perfect shot on the shoulder. The kudu stumbled 5 yards and fell over there. A magnificent kudu bull. So he shot a beautiful kudu bull. Now, at this point, we are still sitting with my kudu bull that's wounded. And I'm still following along the track at the back with our tracker's dad, old Charles. And we're busy tracking this up. And my dad managed to bump my kudu, and he finished it off for me. So he was super stoked. Both of us have got a kudu in a day. So now came the time-consuming process of getting them out, because unfortunately both these bulls didn't end up anywhere where a pickup could get. So we are quartering and gutting and carrying hindquarters out and heads out. So again, this is all time before shoulder mounts and capes were a thing where you wanted to mount your trophies. So we had the heads cut off and heads on the shoulders, and carrying these things out, helping as best as we can as 13-year-old kids can. And then the guys helped us get it out. So we got some awesome photographs of those kudu shot with my brother and I. And it's just another great milestone of hunting together and hunting as a family. And we just kept building on that as the years go on. And it's another great memory where I'll never forget, where it's time spent with my brother and my father out, and then afterwards having the opportunity of sitting there and learning how to process our own kudu. So my dad taught us how to butcher our kudu there, and we made sausage and hamburger and, dry sausage, which is the South Africans love, and we made biltong, loads of biltong, and we had bragging rights. We'd shot our first kudu, so it was a great experience. And then we just built on this. So you can see from my stories, guys, that we are very much a family-orientated hunting business, and it's always been about family. Come make memories with us, with your kids. Bring your sons with on their first experience. I've got many clients where they've come with wives, and the wives come and experience what we have to offer as well. Nothing fancy, guys, just true hunting. By the end of the trip, the wife has actually got so into the hunting that she shoots her first animal, or her first African animal. So if you're enjoying all these stories, guys, leave us a comment down in the bottom there. Find us on Instagram, find us on Facebook, and we'll be posting more of my timeline as a hunter to the point where I become a professional hunter and a dangerous game hunter. So till later, guys. Cheers.